Hey guys, T-Bull here. Today we're going to take a look at a whale of a game I had on the map Trident in a Fuso. It's a tier 5 Japanese battleship. I do have another Fuso replay. I was kind of weighing between this one and that one. That one's just shy of 200k damage, so that was a nice game. This one, not quite as big on the damage, but it ends up having one of the higher XP totals that I've come across since release so far, so I ended up going with this one. It's a pretty sweet game. There's a lot to talk about, so right off the bat we got some smoke deployed here. I do want to mention briefly about a lot of destroyer players will get into some sort of position and put smoke down right away, and if it's cutting off your own line of sight, your team's line of sight to the enemy, then I gotta ask you, what are you accomplishing doing that? It seems to me it's just kind of wasting the smoke and an opportunity to get some early damage. Now these guys obviously do have a line of sight of me because they were shooting, but just keep that in mind if you're a destroyer player. Make sure you're using the smoke to the best of your abilities, I guess. And so here we got a Farragut that's coming in hot. If you watch my target selection video that I put up a few days ago, you'll recall that destroyers that are closing in, #1 priority for battleships. So luckily it looks like I got one of my cruiser buddies taking a couple shots at him. He tried to rush in, get some early torpedoes on me, but we're just gonna park it here and wait for him to come around the bend. And I'd recommend he loads up another game, because this one's not gonna work out for him.
Enemy destroyer sunk. Off to a great start.
Occasionally you can get away with doing that as a destroyer player, but I feel like it's a pretty high risk, low reward situation. Even if he was able to, I don't know. If he was able to kill me, it would have won the game for his team in retrospect, but he didn't know that at the time. And he only got one salvo off, it looked like, so
Many thanks.
I'd suggest he probably would have done better staying alive, but teach his own. Now here I got a Furutaka and a Queen Elizabeth out on the horizon there. I'd probably, in retrospect, think I should have shot the Furutaka again. I don't know if it was broadside initially when I was trying to determine who to shoot at, but broadside cruisers are definitely a higher priority than a battleship, so my team got a little ticked off about shooting the wrong target and decided to need a little bit of time on the beach to cool off, so we'll give it to him. I mean, granted, it is a long shot and he's angled away from us, but there's no reason not to be trying to take these cruisers out. And we got one over pen there. So you can see I'm sitting there stopped. That's just me not paying attention. I thought I was in reverse. It's like, what the hell is going on here? So I don't know. Me personally, probably the biggest thing I need to work on is just stop running into islands, because I do it all the time. Bam, my boy did post a tip on another one of my videos about turning quickly. It says if you throw it hard into the turn, then hit decelerate all the way, and then quickly put the throttle all the way back up, it turns a little bit sharper. I'm still playing around with that. I think it helps more with like quicker ships, like a destroyer, but it's an interesting tip, something to consider if you want to check it out. Anyway, we dislodged ourselves there. That was, you're probably sitting there thinking to yourself, he chose this as a replay. Yeah, just hold on, it gets better. And you can see we do have our guns locked to the sides. I do recommend, especially for battleships with this low traverse, try and get in the habit of locking your guns to one side so they're not constantly moving back and forth. And that way you have them in position when they're ready to go. And here we got a Congo. I don't know why I had a high explosive round loaded there. Maybe I was looking at that Queen Elizabeth being angled or whatever. that situation didn't call for it. That's another mistake. So
Fighter airborne.
you can see that essentially ended up being a wasted salvo there. Granted, we got, you know, a couple thousand damage in a brief fire that was put out, but fire damage is considered light damage, which if you use your repair party, that repair party heals light damage, not heavy damage. So I'll probably make a video more in depth on them, but briefly, like Citadel damage, you can only heal 10% of it, okay, using the repair party. Fire damage, you can heal the vast majority of it, so just keep that in mind. But anyway, we get down to business and missed the Citadel there. I was hoping to kill him. And you can see that damage we took right there. Because we had that high explosive round loaded, we ended up taking that, so that mistake ended up costing us. It wasn't a huge cost, but had the guy hit a Citadel or two, I mean, that could have definitely changed the outcome of this game. And you'll see as the game goes on, my team's going to need me. Now, just looking at the map situation, we had a few guys squirt through their lines to the southeast. It looks like they're swinging around a cap. But they do have about half their team sailing up the eastern side of the map. Now, you do want to be cognizant of what's going on at all times, especially if you have like a 20-second reload. There's no reason not to glance at the map for 2 or 3 seconds, pretty much in between every shot. So keep that in mind. I'm looking at the map. I can see my team's probably not going to defend the cap based on, you have 2 battleships pointed south, and then the destroyer who's, you know, the other 2 guys are further south. That is just based on what they're doing. I don't think they're interested in winning the game / defending the cap. So I'm starting to evaluate that, and you know, maybe looking for 1 or 2 more shots down here before we head back. Now at this point our team potentially could win by capping out, but I don't think that's going to be likely just because of this cruiser should be able to reset fairly easily. And now we've identified the enemy team attempting to take our cap. Now again, I've kind of determined that these guys aren't going to help. Sometimes when that's the case, I'll try and be annoying and just keep telling them to defend the base. You'll see I do that a fair amount here because I'm having a pretty good game. I'm thinking, well, maybe this could end up being a replay depending on how it goes. But if we lose it because these Goombas are ignoring the cap, well, then you guys would never see the game. So I don't know. I gotta calm down. Obviously there's a lot of new players, but you know, there's people have been playing World of Tanks for a long time, and they ignore the cap all the time in that game too. So I'm hopeful that as players get better at this game, they're gonna focus on winning a little bit more, but I'm not counting on it, just based on my experience with the other game. Anyway, Omaha, land a couple Citadels on him. Now these long distance shots, keep an eye on like the enemy's smoke stack, what's coming out of them here. You can see the smoke, it's no longer horizontal there, so I can see that guy's essentially stopped. That's why I shot that one right in the middle of him. Now he ended up, actually he's throwing it in reverse slightly, but luckily we were able to hit that. But had we just assumed he was sailing forward at full throttle, we would have missed that shot. And again, the New York, this one, smokestack's not pushed back horizontally, it's basically just barely puffing up straight up, so you can tell he's barely moving. Line up right at the water line. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. That one hurt, buddy. Yeah, I know how that feels. So we're getting pretty banged up here. And obviously my team's relying on me to win the game for them, which is, again, annoying. I understand the battleships can't turn around and get back. So when I'm pinging the map, telling them to help out, I'm not actually expecting help. I'm just reminding them in my own way that you guys could very easily lose this game for us by not doing anything.
Main turret critically damaged.
But land another citadel and take that guy out. Now this guy definitely has the advantage health-wise. Luckily we're able to use a repair party there. Ping him, get a little map defense. Now part of the reason this is such a huge experience game is if you hit defenders like that, which is hitting a target that's on the cap, that racks up the experience very quickly. So keep that in mind. If you're trying to have a monster game, that's an added incentive to defend the cap, because probably ended up being, I guess, between 5 and 1,000 XP I got just from defending this cap. So land another citadel here, and this guy's starting to think, what the hell's going on here? We had a 3-on-1 against this dude, and he ended up wiping us off the map. So a great game altogether. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, well, consider subscribing. There's plenty more World of Warships coming. Questions, comments, leave them below. I love hearing from you guys. And we'll see you guys all later. Alright, peace.